Dual overdrive has been on my pedal board for quite a while now, but I haven't really spoken about it. I've used it in demos for other gear and, you know, showed it off a bit on the channel, but I've not really given it the dedicated video that it deserves. Regular viewers will know that my favourite overdrive pedal, or style of pedal really, since there's so many pedals based on the circuit, is the Marshall Bluesbreaker. I've had quite a few of them. While I waited on the waiting list for the King of Tone, I bought the MXR Duke of Tone, both based on the Bluesbreaker circuit. I picked up the Marshall Bluesbreaker reissue, and in fact that was one of the first videos I did on the channel in this format. I sold that on because after 5 years on the waiting list, I did get the opportunity to buy a King of Tone. I sold the King of Tone, probably stupidly, and bought the Wampler Pantheon, which is a dual Bluesbreaker pedal, much like the King of Tone, but significantly cheaper. And I went back to the Bluesbreaker again, and there's probably ones that I've missed in between there as well. While on this overdrive journey, I heard people raving about the Protein by a company I'd not heard of, Browne Amplification, and I discovered that at least one side of it was based on the Marshall Bluesbreaker. And what interested me further is that the green side, what I assumed would be a Tube Screamer, is actually based on the Noble's ODR1. A pedal I'd never tried before, and I was intrigued. The Protein is the result of a collaboration between David Browne of Browne Amplification and guitarist-producer Adam Schnegowski, probably murdered that name. Adam wanted to create an overdrive that would work well with any backline that he encountered. They started with two drives that they loved and stacked well together, but had a few inherent issues. The Marshall Bluesbreaker in particular, known to be a little bit problematic with the level knob needing to be cranked quite high to even get unity gain. David set out to fix those issues without losing what was great about the original pedals. So essentially both sides are tweaks on the original circuits, but retain the things that make those circuits great. Several iterations of the Protein, and mine is version 3, and as far as I can tell there's no changes to the actual circuit, it's more refinements to how the pedal works. Over the V2, the V3 adds top mounted jacks where all pedal jacks should be, I think you'll agree. It also adds soft touch foot switches and changes the internal switches from 2 down to 1 for activating loop mode. When switched on, that loop mode allows you to use TRS cables with the input and output jack to essentially separate this out into 2 individual pedals for use in a loop switcher. Like I said, that feature is designed to be used with a loop switcher, but with some clever TRS cabling, you can also use it to enable you to route a pedal in between the two sides if you choose to. One thing you can't do is change the routing order on the two sides of the pedal. It's something I've seen a video of David talking about, and he strongly believes that green into blue is the best combination, and I tend to agree with him. If you do want to be able to switch the routing order, then look into that option with a loop switcher that can move your loops around. Or, you know, like I said, get fancy with the TRS cables and do some funky routing. Personally, I love the combination. I have heard that some people find it to be a little bit bright compared to the original circuits, and I did find that when I was using it with my Tone Master Deluxe Reverb. Don't get me wrong, it was totally tameable. I just found that I had to dial the tone back a little bit more than I normally would on a Bluesbreaker style pedal. I don't find that to be the case with my Silver Jubilee though. In fact, I think it works great with that amp, although I do tend to dial it in quite dark. You can get a huge range of gain tones out of this pedal. If you're using it with a clean amp, you can dial it right back and get that kind of John Mayer sort of tone. Running it into the Jubilee, I get a bit more of a Hendrix, John Frusciante type tone. And combining both sides can give you soaring leads and competes with the overdrive channel on the Jubilee for chuggability. It's a really great dual overdrive pedal. It is a little expensive in the UK at £339, a fair bit more than buying the individual reissues of the circuits it's designed on, but reasonable if you consider the prices of standalone boutique versions of those pedals. It's stuck around on my board for quite some time now, so it must be doing something right considering my history with these type of circuits. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching it all the way to the end. If you did like it, maybe give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're not already. If you're really into Bluesbreakers, check out my video over here, which tells you why I went back to the Bluesbreaker and ditched the King of Tone. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.